Welcome back to my channel. I'm James. Today we're going to be discussing and talking about a classic, epic, kind of like a western-y type feel of a movie. So I'm excited to announce we're going to deep dive into George Stevens' Giant, the brand new 4K Ultra HD 4K restoration and remaster that was released by Warner Brothers here this week. Now, this one did take me a little bit longer to get in. I pre-ordered mine a long time ago, but I actually just received it, so I decided to dive into this, go into this review, and get this done for all of you as fast as possible. Now, I did all my exclusive testing on this. We're also going to do my exclusive 4K versus Blu-ray image comparisons to let you know the quality, if this is worth upgrading over the original Blu-ray releases as well. So if you haven't subscribed to this YouTube channel yet, make sure to go down there and hit that subscribe button and the bell notification. Also, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and a like for me. Now, talking about Giant on 4K Ultra HD here, we're going to start off with the original Blu-ray image of what was present on the Blu-ray before. Now, there is some things I need to touch on here that a lot of people just didn't seem to understand, even when that original Blu-ray came out, which are still present on this new 4K Ultra HD that I'm going to touch on. Well, to give you an example, on that original Blu-ray release, the image was always sort of soft throughout it. There was scenes that had some nicer clarity, but overall the whole image was soft. And it had more of a brown color saturation throughout the entire film. Now, on the new 4K Ultra HD restoration and remaster, there's a lot of things that are very nice upticks in detail, but there are some things that were present on that Blu-ray and basically any of the previous home entertainment releases of Giant that, even though the 4K does the best it can, some of the original film elements are so badly, like, basically desaturated and damaged and just something that they really can't do a whole lot with, that it'll kind of go from a 4K, very nice native 4K 2160p image down to like a 1080p image. Sometimes it'll look a little bit less than that, but it's still like a 1080p look to that in some scenes. And it'll go from a really gorgeous 4K Ultra HD scene down to something that's very kind of slightly soft and blurry of an image for a few minutes and then go back to. Now, you do have to keep in mind, I mean, this movie is over 3 hours long. So this movie is very epic in scope and nature. So those scenes are littered throughout the film. There's dozens of them where it'll go to that for a few minutes, then it'll go back to being a gorgeous 2160p presentation and a native. And it does have HDR10 on it, and the HDR10 on it does bring a lot more life to the picture as well over the original Blu-ray release. But those of you that are expecting all of those issues that were present on the Blu-ray to be completely gone, they won't be completely gone on the 4K Ultra HD. Though I will say, of the presentations of Giant that have ever been released, this is by far the best looking of those presentations and has fixed a lot of things that the Blu-ray didn't have fixed on it before. So a lot of those scenes that were nice or decent looking on the Blu-ray look drastically better on this 4K and are just downright stunning. But the scenes that kind of really looked really bad on the Blu-ray, well, they look better on the 4K Ultra HD, but they just don't look amazing on those scenes throughout it. Now, I am going to touch on the aspect ratio. It is in the original aspect ratio on the 4K Ultra HD of 1.66 to 1. So they didn't alter that, cut it down, or change it at all, so I do appreciate Warner Brothers doing that for this release. Now, audio-wise, this is where some other things did crop up through my testing and all my exclusive testing that I did. Now, it does have English DTS HD Master Audio 2.0 mix on this, and it did sound good throughout most of the film. Now, that's where there was some few instances. Now, there are a few instances throughout where if you're paying close attention, and you're kind of like me, I'm kind of nitpicky sometimes when I watch films, but you will notice that there's a audio issue or audio lag or audio sync issue where just slightly they'll be talking and the words will come just slightly after when they're talking, or vice versa, where it'll be just maybe slightly before their mouth moves. And if you pay attention to their mouths really closely and you're kind of like a mouth listener, which I guess I'm a mouth listener, I kind of watch their mouths when they're talking, it's just kind of me. Well, you'll notice there's a few scenes throughout. Most noticeably was at the beginning when they first had the family dinner, when Rock Hudson's character obviously comes to visit Elizabeth Taylor's family to buy the stallion. That first dinner they have together, it was kind of when Rock Hudson was talking, Elizabeth Taylor's mom in it. When they would talk, the words would just slightly come just slightly after. And Some people might not notice it at all, but I did, and I pointed it out to my wife, and then she noticed it. She doesn't like when I point out stuff like that sometimes because it kind of brings to light when there's something wrong with the film, but it was just something I noticed. Now, it goes right back to the next scene after they're done with the dinner. It goes right back to it's in sync with their lips and their mouths perfectly fine after that, but there's just some slight audio sync issues, which might be due to, like I had mentioned earlier, there's several different things that they're combining to create this 4K Ultra HD. Different film elements that were missing or that were damaged, or they had to use dupes to actually go and scan to create this new 4K Ultra HD restoration remaster. And that's all that exists, and those are the best elements that exist for that. So I do give them some leeway a little bit on that, understanding that for how long and epic this film is, there are some things that have been damaged over time. Because of the age of the film of Giant, it did come out in 1956. Now, it was rated G, and as far as that goes, it's a very wholesome movie. I mean, it has a lot of things, though, that show an epic scale of going through their lives. And Elizabeth Taylor's character coming to Texas and being a part of the ranch and learning all about it and things like that. And I really do enjoy it. The drama, the story behind it, the history of Texas kind of involved in that. I love the history of Texas and things like that. So I really enjoyed Giant as a film, and this is the best it's ever looked, and there is some slight changes in colors as well, as you probably noticed in those screenshot comparisons above. The original Blu-ray release, like I had mentioned previously, has a very brownish overall color saturation and tone to it. On this new 4K Ultra HD, they did a new color grading. What that kind of changed is it more has a pinkish tone instead of more of a darker brown tone. Now, is that bad? It's up to each one of you which you kind of, I guess, prefer. Supposedly this is supposed to be the closest to the original way it was intended, so that pinkish tone definitely helps with skin tones primarily. I noticed that pinkish tone does make their skin tones look more lifelike, whereas the brownish tone on the original Blu-ray release definitely made everybody just look really darkly tan in a really dark way, where I do feel like it does in their skin tones make it look more natural overall with the pinkish tone in this. Now, well, I say it's so heavy. When I say pinkish tone, I'm going to say slightly pinkish tone. It's not something that honestly is just oversaturated throughout the entire film that makes this 4K Ultra HD just look darn right pink everywhere. It's not that way. It's just, like I said, I'm kind of picky on those things and noticed the difference between it. It does help skin tones, but in other areas, it does just kind of have more of a slight pink to it, just very, very slightly. Now, you do get subtitles on this in English, French, German, Italian, Spanish, and Dutch. And on those audio options, you did also get audio options in Dolby Digital Mono in French, German, Italian, Spanish. Those are all available on here as well. Now, showing you what you get in this, it is got a nice new cover art. I did like that in this. It does say Giant on the side and talks about the film. Special features wise, you just get an audio commentary. So if you do own the original Blu-ray releases, you're going to want to keep those for all the special features that are present on them, as opposed to this one just has the audio commentary. So this is more like a supplement to those Blu-ray releases, because this one you're going to want to watch the film on because this is the best it's ever looked. But special feature wise, you're going to want the Blu-rays for all the special features. Now, going inside here, you would have your digital copy code, and that is a Movies Anywhere digital copy code in here. And then this is your 4K Ultra HD disc. So that's why I said if you have the Blu-rays, you want to keep those because this is more a budget 4K Ultra HD release, and a new thing that kind of Warner Brothers is doing more often now is these manufactured on demand. They don't send these out to stores and print millions of these and send them out to sit on store shelves. They print these as they are sold. So these are not something that's going to be on a different disc. This is a BD100, which is a great job by Warner Brothers on that. They did not overcompress the content. The bitrate was very healthy throughout the entire thing. I didn't see any massive dips in bitrate that caused it to seem like it was overcompressed at all. And the BD100 gave it plenty of room for the 3 hours plus runtime that is this movie that's on the disc. And the disc looked great, I like the cover art, but it is a more budget release in the sense of, for this entire limited edition set, you're looking at around $20, which is a great price point for them to release this at, so that way everyone can get it. Now, like I talked about with the image on this though, it is slightly inconsistent throughout the film. The Blu-ray had the same types of inconsistencies. It's not going to matter what they release it on, those original damaged elements that they're drawing from in those scenes that are slightly, and I say slightly, blurry and inconsistent, and there's very soft images in those scenes throughout it, those are always going to be present, and they did the absolute best that they can with this, and over the Blu-ray, they are still a nice substantial upgrade over the Blu-ray release. But am I going to say they're going to be a drastic, like between, you know, DVD to Blu-ray or things like that? No, it's just an upgrade in basically increments for those soft scenes. Now, the scenes where they have the nice film elements to draw from that aren't damaged, those are absolutely gorgeous. I mean, the skin tones, what you can see in their clothing, the backgrounds, the grass, the hair on the horses. I mean, those scenes absolutely look gorgeous throughout it compared to that Blu-ray and are just a huge upgrade. But because it's inconsistent throughout, a lot of people are going to think, hey, well, it wasn't done right. Well, it's not that it wasn't done right. That's what exists, that's available for them to make. And that's the best they can do with it. And I am happy with what they did with this 4K Ultra HD. Now, if you decide you want to pick up Giant after watching my review here, I will have, as always, the link posted in the description section right below this video, and as a pinned comment in the comment section below. When you click on that, I've made it nice and easy for you. It takes you straight out to Amazon. It's the same prices everywhere. They're not on sale, and my understanding is they're not going to be on sale for less than that $19.99 because Warner Brothers has said this is a limited edition release. What that means is they are only going to print these as manufactured on demand for a very short time. They have not told us how long that is going to be. I tried to find out to get an exact answer. I never got a response. But basically my understanding is from all of their press releases, they've even said this is very limited, which means they're only going to print these as manufactured on demand for a little bit, and then they're going to be gone. They're not going to print any more of them. They're not going to come back into print. That's going to be it. That's why they're not on store shelves. So that's why they released it at that $19.99 price point. So that link I posted down below will get you your copy. It'll ship straight to your home, and I've made it nice and easy for you. So if after watching this review, you do decide you want to pick and add this to your collection, make sure to click down through one of those links down below. Now, getting into my review score here. I struggled with my review score for Giant, and here's why. Because of the inconsistencies, a lot of people are going to assume it wasn't done correctly. And there are some things that maybe if they would have spent $1 million, they could have tried to make even clearer just for a few scenes. But I know that there's a limited budget for some of these 4K restorations. I think they did a good job with it. Those scenes are never going to get much better, and I can't imagine them looking better than they even look on this release. Though, because of some of those audio sync issues and slight audio lag issues that I noticed just slightly, and some people might not even pick up on them, but I did. Because of those slight issues there, that did affect the review score as well. And like I said, because of the change in the color tone, there are some things that, just I said, look slightly different than on that Blu-ray release as well. Overall for the release, I think it's a good release. I don't think it's absolutely outstanding or amazing, one of the best restorations I've seen. So my review score for Giant on 4K Ultra HD is gonna be an 8.2. That's based on, because of the audio issues, because of, like I said, some of the color tone slight changes and things that on that, and then also, like I explained before, about some of those soft and very slightly blurry images that come up that are slight to standard almost looking definition. I won't say they are standard definition, but they're close. They go back and forth between 1080p and things like that, and because it's such a drastic change from those just gorgeous scenes down to that 1080p or close to standard, that's where it is kind of like a jarring thing and slightly inconsistent. But like I said, that's the best it's ever looked, is here on this 4K Ultra HD. So it is a good release. It is something that if you love classic films, I do think this is an epic film. It reminds me a lot of those mini-series on TV that you would sit down and watch. You'd really get into the characters, the story, the history, and you enjoy getting into those characters. The acting's great in it. You really fall in love with Elizabeth Taylor, Rock Hudson, and I mean, this was James Dean's final film role as well, and I think he's good in it as well, and you just really like the characters. And my wife, when she was watching it, said, man, it is one of those films you sit down and you really get involved and engrossed in the story. So it did a good job as a movie and is a very enjoyable movie, but 8.2 is the best I could give it, so that gives you a comparison of how this compares to all the hundreds of 4K Ultra HDs I've reviewed before. It's a decent release, but if they would have spent millions upon millions upon millions to try to do an even better restoration, maybe they could have drawn a little more out of it, but I just don't see it ever happening. I think this is the best we're ever going to get. I don't know that anything's ever going to be done to this again, and I am happy with it. I was glad I bought it. I was glad I added it to my collection. That is kind of the point here. Was it an upgrade over the Blu-ray that made it a substantial enough upgrade to make it a worthwhile purchase? And in this, I'll say yes, it was a worthwhile purchase, especially for the price of $19.99. Though, for those special features, definitely hold on to your Blu-ray copy. If you enjoy all this exclusive content that I create here on my YouTube channel, make sure to join my Collectors VIP Club. That is the best way to support this YouTube channel and show your fan status and how much you love and support all this content I exclusively create here on my YouTube channel for all of you to watch. You'll get a bunch of special perks and benefits for joining that Collectors VIP Club, along with there will be exclusive videos and reviews and comparison reviews that will only be for my Collectors VIP Club members. So make sure to join that Collectors VIP Club to show your support and your VIP member status here on my YouTube channel. Also, if you want to give any sort of super thanks or tip, you can do that through the super thanks button down below. When you click on that, it's just like when you go to a restaurant and you give a tip for all of the hard work that I put into all of these videos. You can give a tip of any amount, and that goes straight back into this YouTube channel. It helps support this YouTube channel the exact same way that the Collectors VIP Club does. Though the Collectors VIP Club is the best possible way to support this channel. Don't forget to give this video a like and a thumbs up for me. Hit that subscribe button and the bell notification. I had a fun time with this one today. I was really looking forward to diving into this review and letting you know the quality and if this was something worth upgrading to. I love all of these classic old movies. Make sure to comment below and let me know if you've seen this movie, if you're excited for this review and excited for this comparison review, showing you the difference between both, and if this is something you think is worth upgrading to now that you've seen the comparisons. And if you're going to upgrade, make sure to click through that link in the description section below or as a pinned comment to order your copy. I hope all of you have a blessed day, and I've always got something new and exciting coming out very soon.